So how do you build a unified nation? Well, one answer might actually surprise you. You could start with a science textbook. And that's exactly what we're digging into in this explainer, Pakistan's incredibly ambitious plan to overhaul its education system with a single national curriculum for general science.
And this right here is the blueprint we'll be breaking down. It was published back in 2020, and this document lays out not just a plan for teaching science, but really a vision for the country itself. To get that vision, though, we first have to understand the problem it was actually designed to solve.
You see, before this whole initiative, Pakistan's education system was, well, it was deeply fractured. To really appreciate the new curriculum, we've got to understand the old system it's trying to replace.
And the language used in the curriculum's own preface is just incredibly powerful. The authors don't pull any punches, calling the previous system an educational apartheid. That one phrase tells you just how high the stakes were for this reform. The country had all these parallel streams of education, each with its own curriculum, its own resources, and its own worldview. We're talking public schools, low-cost private schools, elite private institutions, and religious madrasas. The result? Well, you'd get graduates with vastly different mindsets and, this is the crucial part, totally unequal opportunities. This was seen as a massive barrier to national unity.
Okay, so how do you even begin to bridge such a deep divide? The government's answer was a really bold but simple idea.
And that bold idea became the rallying cry for the entire project. One nation, one curriculum. The Single National Curriculum, or SNC as it's known, was thought of as this great equalizer. It was a way to make sure that every single child in Pakistan, no matter their background, would learn from the same book and share a common educational foundation.
This quote here really highlights that ambition. This was never just about standardizing textbooks. It was framed as a nation-building project. It was the fulfillment of a dream to create a more cohesive society, all through education.
All right, so let's see how this big ambition actually translated into the general science curriculum itself. The reform wasn't just about what was taught, but maybe even more importantly, how it was taught, all with the goal of getting students ready for the modern world.
The curriculum makes a super clear distinction between the past and the future. The old way, it relied heavily on rote learning, just memorizing facts for a test. The new way is all about active learning. The goal is to develop these higher-order thinking skills, to teach students how to think, how to solve problems, and how to make informed decisions for themselves.
So, how is all of this organized? Well, the document uses a pretty clear framework. You can think of it like this. Strands are the what. These are the big subject areas. Standards are the why, the broad skills and understanding a student should walk away with. And benchmarks are the how, the specific, measurable things a student should actually be able to do by the end of a grade.
For general science, those big strands we just talked about are organized into 3 fundamental pillars. Think of these as the absolute core foundations of all scientific knowledge for these young learners.
The first pillar is life sciences. This is where students learn all about the living world, from the tiniest microorganisms to plants, animals, and the incredibly complex ecosystems they form. They might learn about food chains or the life cycles of different creatures.
The second pillar is physical sciences. This covers the fundamental rules of our universe, things like matter, energy, electricity, and magnetism. It's really about understanding why a ball falls down instead of up, or how a simple light bulb works. And that brings us to the third pillar, Earth and space sciences. This is what expands the student's view outward. They explore our own planet's systems like weather and seasons before they start moving out to the solar system and our place in the much wider universe.
But just having these pillars isn't enough. The curriculum's real success hinges on how these concepts are actually taught and how they build on each other year after year.
And this learning isn't just random. It's structured using what the curriculum calls a progression grid to make sure that the knowledge is cumulative. So concepts that are introduced in one grade are revisited and then expanded upon in the next, creating this really solid, layered foundation of knowledge.
This slide makes that whole idea of progression really concrete. In grade 4, a student learns to classify animals into 2 basic groups, with a backbone or without one. Simple enough. But then by grade 5, they build on that exact idea, now classifying those vertebrates into 5 more specific classes: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. You can literally see the knowledge getting deeper and more detailed. And ultimately what this shows is that the goal isn't just about knowing facts about science, it's about developing the skills of a scientist. The curriculum is designed from the ground up to teach students how to observe, ask good questions, solve problems, and communicate what they find, skills that are absolutely essential for pretty much any career in the 21st century.
So let's bring this all together. When you look past all the lesson plans and the learning outcomes, what you start to see is that this curriculum is at its very core a blueprint for the future.
And this brings us right back to that powerful idea from the very beginning. The entire educational project is framed as a foundational step towards strengthening the nation itself, linking what happens in the classroom directly to the country's destiny.
So the ultimate vision here is crystal clear. It's about creating a generation of scientifically literate citizens who can think critically, who can solve complex problems, and who can face modern challenges together as a unified nation. It connects science education directly to social progress and economic stability.
Which leaves us with a final and pretty profound question. The single national curriculum is this enormous social and educational experiment, and it's rooted in the belief that what children learn together can actually shape the country they build together. Only time, of course, will tell how this blueprint really plays out.